Mick winning his heat. They're both going to rocket through into round number 3. And right now in the water, 2 surfers. It's going to be a 2-surfer heat, CJ Hobgood and Hodei Collazo. This is an all-Atlantic heat. Florida versus Northern Spain. Up and riding on the first wave. It's CJ and just kicks out.
So, Nick, do you think that with Joel winning his heat and Mick in the following heat, you think that was a bit of a confidence booster and a little bit of a push?
I think for both those surfers, they'll be feeling very confident after their finals appearance last week, and their opening heats here is just a kind of confirmation of that they're both in form. They're surfing as good as they've ever surfed on tour, and they're also feeling really confident with the heat situation. Joel in his heat was trailing the heat for quite a long time. For about 15 or 18 minutes, he was ranked number 3 in the heat. And, at other times during his career, I reckon Joel might have just let that heat go. He might have gone, no, bugger it, I'll wait for round 2. Being in form, being in rhythm, and being willing to push the point, he just turned it around on his opponents, came back with the highest scoring wave of the day so far, the highest scoring wave of the event so far, 9.57, to just smash his way into the lead, and was after that he was just unstoppable. So you can guarantee Joel Parkinson's in form, not just with his surfing, but also with his understanding of heat rhythms and his understanding of what it's needed to come through strongly in a heat. Mick Fanning watched that heat really, really closely. His fellow finalists from last week in France. And Mick did a very similar hatchet job on his opponents. Actually started out strong, didn't give anyone a chance, just rubbed Sean Canistell and Yuri Sodry right out of the picture from the opening and held onto his heat to win comfortably.
Absolutely, and it seems like those kids just push each other, and they seem like they've hit their stride together, and you can almost guarantee that they're definitely going to be trying to up one. It seemed like in the final of the last event, I know they're really good friends, but it seemed like they really, really wanted to beat each other, and it was a sight to see.
Oh, yeah. And right now on your screen, you're going to see the grommet from the Basque Country, Hodei Collazo. He's up against a former world champion in CJ Hobgood. They're alone in this heat together, and you can see Hodei has all the chops he needs to win heats out here at Mundaka. Really nice top turn there. And he's going to head on down the line.
He picked a great wave, too. It seemed to line up really good.
Really savvy to what's necessary out here on a choppy, windy day at Mundaka. Comes down and recovers. Complex turning there. Gets himself a nice score of 5.17, and he is now in the lead over CJ Hobgood. The Battle of the Atlantic continues. And CJ looking for position out the back right now. Well, Dino, we've been wondering when the tide would feel a little too much for this sandbar today, given the swell conditions. I'd say we're not too far away from that right now. The waves are still quite positive and breaking strongly on the sandbar, but you sense it's really only an hour or so away from filling up and blocking our progress through the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can see, the tide filling in quickly here. Nonetheless, the local kid getting a really good wave still, scoring a 5.17. We'll have to see in the next, 15 minutes or so what happens here. But definitely tide moving in quick.
Of course, if we're lucky, we will see out a couple more heats before that tide does drift too high. Up and riding now, Hodei Collazo kicks out. Just a quick ride, not a scoring right, I don't think. Yeah, it would be nice to see everything hang in there for a little while longer because, of course, coming up in heat number 9, we have a spectacular heat. Andy Irons from Hawaii, Freddie Patasha from Hawaii, and Hira Tarantupa from all the way down in tropical Polynesia. Of course, Hira has plenty of experience in Europe from his years of surfing on the WQS, so I don't think he's going to find the water temperature or the conditions much of a surprise. And he's more than worthy of challenging both those surfers. Hira, one of the best surfers ever to come out of Tahiti, and that'll be a great heat, heat number 9, just as long as that tide can hold off and give us a chance.
Yeah, it looks like Freddie Patasha as well is in this heat, and I know he's kind of, on the bubble, you might say, this year. And Andy Irons, he's not going to take no prisoners. He wants to make a hard run at the title here, and with a 3rd place in the last event, he's definitely putting the pressure on Kelly, and you got to think Taj as well. Last week he had a kind of a shocking result, and these kind of conditions could be favorable to him, in heat number 10.
Sure could. I mean, both those surfers stand to gain from a big result here at Mundaka, and gain more than, might at first appear. If somebody can take momentum here and start running with big results, then it's possible that either Taj or Annie may begin to gain some ground on Kelly Slater, and there might be a real toe-to-toe battle through the last couple of events on the 2006 WCT. I know that none of the guys trailing behind Kelly have anything but respect for him, but they also know that they can. But they also know that they can. They can come on strong and catch up with him.
Absolutely, and with this event being the 3rd to last event, there's you have Mundaka in Brazil and Hawaii, definitely getting down to the business part of the tour here, and those top 5 guys are kind of separated from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, on a lot of levels they've separated themselves. They've shown they're the form surfers at different times in the year, and they're kind of on fire. So seems like a great time to go down and talk with none other than Michael Eugene Fanning with GT on the rocks. Bring it on home, sunshine.
Right, Mick. Well, you're just kind of picking up where you left off in France. Caught, I believe, 9 waves in that heat. Your 2nd and your 6th, the 733 and the 950. Not a bad little macho combo.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. Out and catch 5s. We started off really strong, and I was lucky. We went into the first one, so yeah, I was.
So let's talk about that 9.5. Again, kind of what I told Joel at 9.57. Insane out there.
Yeah, well, that's the sort of thing you got to do now. All out, and that's all good.
Now, you mentioned the world title. The one thing interesting.
Doesn't bother me. I hope he doesn't show up for the whole of it.
So now, as we're kind of getting down to the real business end of the tour now, do you?
Approach as I have been with these last few events, and hopefully.
Now let's talk about Mundaka as a site. There,
probably the most beautiful. Amazing.
And in terms of the specific conditions, swelly, beach breaking, or are you just...
You need a little bit more than just a 3.
a little better than... brother, and back up into the tower with Mr. Dino and Nick Carroll, I believe, are waiting, standing by.
All right, thanks a million there, GT and Mick. A bit of an insight into that. We just had a few emails come in about that last heat, and one of them was from Mick's mum, Liz Fanning, who's claiming she had to wake Mick up this morning because he was swearing it wasn't going to be on. Given the weather conditions this morning at Mundaka, I'm not surprised Mick decided to stay in bed. The wind blustering in, a really strong westerly change hit this part of the coastline at about, I don't know, probably 2 this morning, something crazy like that. A lot of rain came with it. The rain seems to more or less have cleared off, but the wind's still with us. It's really blowing strong out there in the Bay of Biscay. And I suspect it's going to whip up a fair bit of swell over the next couple of days. It might be just junky wind swell, but as we've seen, the quality of the sandbar out here at Mundaka is such that it can turn wind swell into something kind of magical.
Absolutely, and I know when I'm on the east coast of America trying to surf, I'm always hoping for wind. Wind, please come. Stay, please, more wind. So, you know, it's interesting that the wind brought us these waves, but it's not surprising.
Not at all. It's a really lively coastline, this one, and it does react very quickly to changes in mood and changes in wind direction and all that kind of stuff. We've seen this sandbar actually react slightly over the last couple of days, and I suspect with the amount of rain we had last night, the water flow is going to increase down the Guernica River and maybe alter the sandbar and build it a little bit more than it has been. Already there's a fair bit more sand on the outer takeoff zone out near the fabled rock zone, and that really augurs well for strong groundswell later in the waiting period here, Dino.
Absolutely, and with just under 17 minutes remaining, looks like the surfer in blue, Hodei Collazo, is leading the heat with CJ Hobgood only needing a 4.0 to take over that first position, and current world champion and 7-time world champion Kelly Slater opting not to compete in the round 1 today, definitely leaving some room for these other 2 competitors to battle it out here in this first round heat.
Well, you know, there's probably a couple of things there. I guess Kelly's certainly earned the right to make the call on surfing in early rounds. He's done it before. He'll probably do it again. Up and riding right now, 2001 world champion CJ Hobgood, wanting to hit back and gain an advantage in this heat. You know that CJ has had kind of a tough year this year. He's surfed his way in and out of form a couple of times. He's had good heats and he's had a couple of rugged ones too. Right now, trailing Hodei Collazo in this heat. He won't be liking that, CJ. He'll want to be coming back and scoring a win here with the removal of his fearsome opponent there, Kelly Slater.
Absolutely.
He's going to want to try and take the most advantage he can of it.
Well, it looks like CJ's brother Damien, watching closely his brother compete here, probably knowing that his brother's looking to get back into form and start that pace in the right direction here, and it looks like he might move into the lead with that last score. only needing a 4.0 to take over the lead from Hodei Collazo.
Pretty buff, did I tell you that?
Okay. You know what? We're going to go back to Mick and GT. We didn't know this. There were some audio problems. We're going to go back to GT now with a bit of a clear interview.
All right, here I am. We're going to retake our interview with Mick Fanning as we had some audio difficulties. Okay, well, I'm not coming up with new questions. You're just going to have to restate. Okay, so first of all, I think the last time we started, just kind of picking up where you left off in France, just staying busy and real active out there.
Yeah, that was the plan. I knew the tide was coming in, so just wanted to catch a few waves and just get the ball rolling again and get the board under my feet.
Well, like the heat before, I think you and Joel both, I think Joel got 10 waves, you got 9 waves in that heat. So were you guys kind of talking to each other going, okay, just get out there, stay busy, tide's coming in?
No, but we probably had the same plan going on. But we both lucked into a good one each, so that was pretty good.
Well, and like Joel in the heat previous, his second wave was a keeper, and his sixth wave was a keeper. Same with you, that 950, the kitchen sink, just threw it all in.
Yeah, you know, when you get a good wave, you just got to throw it at it. You don't even know when you're going to get another opportunity, so you might as well just go for it.
Okay, so now we're getting into title time. Just a handful of events left, less than a handful of events left. You know, are you kind of heat by heat at this point, or are you going, okay, this is what I got to do? How do you play yourself through these?
I'm just going heat by heat. A few events ago, I wasn't even in the running, so I'm just taking it heat by heat and just trying to do what I have been the last 3 events, and hopefully that all pays off.
What's been the difference for you, Mick? Because, we were even talking yesterday. I know you have high expectations on yourself, but what's been the difference in this kind of push for you this year?
I think I just, after Mexico, I sort of just reevaluated and, I just took a whole week off surfing and, just sort of, I guess I just went out there and just, instead of just going surfing, I was going out there and, just trying new stuff. I think I got a little bit bored at the start of the year, but now I've just sort of set some new goals and just really, I guess, changed the whole thing of it.
Okay, you're kind of a fun guy. Now, what about Kelly pulling a no-show? He's still in France. He didn't yell it up and riding right here. Nice little off the top as he comes around the corner, banking it through. God, these conditions, Mick, just get more and more challenging as this tide really is swinging on the inside, huh?
Yeah, it's really difficult. As you see now, it's getting really fat. I don't know how many more heats they're going to be able to do, but it's really difficult. You never know exactly when it's going to fill up completely, so you just got to keep catching waves and hope for the best.
Well, here we go. So waves coming out the back. We're going to let you go, Mick, and then we're going to send it back up to the tower with the boys. Thanks, Mick.
Thanks very much, GT and Mick, for being so kind to retake that interview and give us a chance to hear what Mr. Fanning had to say about that heat and about the event generally and how he's perceiving things. At this point, there's, no lack of swell pouring into the bay here at Mundaka. You keep casting your eyes down and across toward the island, and then if you look down the bay as well, at times you can see these big lumps of swell just moving down through that deep, dark grey water in the middle of the bay here. This famous river mouth still producing, even though we're well on the way towards high tide. It's a really kind of a surprise, Dino.
Absolutely. Just it's surprising to me, too, that the waves are still, contestable this late in the tide. It's we're really lucky to have these conditions. It was great to see and hear what Mick Fanning had to say, and when I look at him, I just think of a Ferrari. He's just tight and just, loose but fast and just completely ready for anything.
You bet.
He's like a high-tuned sports car just on the wave.
And just revved it up. And just like a highly tuned sports car, things can go wrong for Mick at times. He has had big injuries. he's able to go mad, and then at other times things will crumble. You know, this
Absolutely.
time right now, the last event and seemingly the beginning of this one here, Mick is on mad territory. Just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, after this heat finishes, we will be going on temporary hold for the day. The tide has been deemed to have risen far enough to put the mockers on this sandbar. Despite a great morning's competition, it's going to be time following this heat to take a break, probably for 3 or 4 hours, Dino, just to let the tide pass. And once it drops again this afternoon, we'll probably see a return to competition. Still a good morning surfing where we may not have expected to see anything really.
Absolutely. You know, we got quite a bit of heats off, and some really dynamic waves were ridden. And as we move into the high tide and seemingly hope for a later start, it'll be interesting to see. I think as a competitor, it's hard not really knowing when you're going to compete. Sometimes it's that waiting anticipation. It's it can drive you mad once in a while.
Yeah, well, we saw an episode this morning actually. It was close to driving Bobby Martinez mad all day yesterday. The guy was in heat number 3 of round 1. The heats were called off after the second heat of the morning, and Bob sat around and he paced up and down the promenade here, and he watched the surf, and the event kept getting postponed and postponed and postponed, and after 8 solid hours of being postponed, it was finally called off for the day. And Bob I think he was probably relieved to have a bit of closure on it, but man, there was a lot of tension there, and he went out this morning. He actually kind of talked everybody into starting the event. He and Mickey Picon said, look, let's not muck around, let's get on with it. Because the waves were actually, despite a dramatic wind change and a lot of rain overnight, the waves were actually kind of producing this morning. Out they went, and Bobby Martinez just immediately went crazy, did enough to win a couple of heats, and came away with a strong heat win there, and he's qualified for round number 3. Out the back there, you can see CJ Hobgood. A lot of people asking us online, where is Kelly Slater? Well, Kelly's done what he occasionally does, and he's elected to pull out of round 1. He may well be out of range of the event at the moment. Up in France, it's like 2.5 hours drive away, and anyone waking up this morning might have thought to themselves, no way, Jose, this wind's raging, it's raining like crap, there's not going to be any waves down there at Mundaka today. In fact, there has been, and there will be later on this afternoon, I'm sure, when we recommence. But in the meantime, Kelly electing not to surf round 1. He'll move into round number 2 and face sudden death from the outset at this event. And you never know, it may be the sort of thing that Kelly feels like he needs, the stimulation of possible early defeat, just to bring out his best straight away. Who knows?
Absolutely, and he seems to get the momentum going throughout the event as well. He'll start off kind of in the earlier rounds of some events, just kind of, not looking in real sharp form, and then as the event goes on, he hits the quarters, semis, finals, and before you know it, he's just, the man to beat.
He certainly can do that. And up and riding now, Hodei Collazo, a young surfer from the Basque Country. He's been pushed back down into second place now by CJ Hobgood. CJ's slow progress toward victory in this heat. He had a tough start to the heat. He's put together a couple of semi-5-point rides, and he does hold the lead at the moment. Hodei can possibly come back, though. He does have a reasonable score of 5.17 back there somewhere. He only needs... Well, let's have a look. What does he need? A 5.01 will get him back into the lead. So this is quite a close heat still. And don't be fooled. The kid can do it.
Yeah, he's got 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, and the waves are getting a little bit less consistent, but nonetheless only a 5.01. Not that tall of an order for Hodei Collazo.
No, totally. It's where the tall order comes into it is in the lineup itself. Mundaka giveth, man. and Mundaka frickin' taketh away at high tide. I tell you what, right now, a sort of a shadow descending on the lineup out here at Mundaka as everything conspires to deaden the lineup. The tide now getting just a little bit too high, pushing a little too much water onto that sandbar. Only the very biggest waves are going to be breaking out there, and then pretty much they'll disappear as well. And as we've declared, following the end of this heat, we're on hold until this afternoon, until that high tide mark has passed. Look at that, the Nixon Tube Time Award for the surfers. This amazing watch. Dead said, I got a press release about this before the contest, and they said it was just like rubies, sapphires, diamonds, all kinds of stuff. And there it is on screen, the Nixon Tube Time Award, best tube, longest tube of the event. You get to walk away with that thing, and wouldn't that be sick?
Wow. Well, I think it's, at the moment, it might be Tommy Whitaker. Yeah, Tommy Whitaker in round one got a really nice tube, and at the moment, I think he's leading that race.
Oh, very much. Little wave coming for Hodei Collazo on the inside. And he's straight away off that. The surfer really going dead. And this is how fast it can change, Dino. The waves can go from being super, super fun to within 10 minutes. It's just too high. The tide's just too high, and it just kills off the sandbar, and there's very few waves coming in.
Even on a absolutely phenomenal day, it'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be macking to hold through high tide here, like in the 8-foot range.
Wow.
It can happen.
Really?
I swear it can.
I didn't know that.
No.
I heard last week it was the best it's ever been, and an hour later it was dead flat. So there you go.
Crazy, man. Crazy stuff.
Nonetheless, a absolutely phenomenal place here, Mundaka. Just beautiful rolling hills with beautiful houses on top of the hills and beautiful trees with rivers, and
just the whole 10 yards.
It's amazing.
It is an amazing zone. It's been one of the most famous surf spots in the world for a really long time now. It's wonderful to see it back and in form. Guaranteed later on this afternoon we're going to be having a look at restarting the event, but we will be closing down proceedings after this heat finishes. So far through to round number 3 today, Bobby Martinez from Santa Barbara, California. A great start to the day for Bobby. Really put his stamp on the lineup. Following him, Jared House from South Australia had a really bizarre heat. Snapped his board in the opening 5 or 10 minutes. Had to swim, tried to chase his board in for a while, and then had to turn around and swim all the way back into the harbour mouth and grab a backup board. Got back into the lineup and surfed a great heat to defeat Taylor Knox and Trent Munro.
Trent Munro, I think he might have overslept a bit. He didn't enter the water until halfway through the heat, and he looked like he had bed legs through the middle of that heat. But
he so did. He so did have bed legs, and so quite a kind of dramatic heat, that one, with a lot of chopping and changing. Things kind of settled down there. Damien Hobgood came on really, really strong to win heat number 5, but it was a tough heat, that one. Toby Martin fought him all the way. And
Damien got that wave at the end where he did those 2 giant committed floaters and a big speed blast, and then he overtook Toby in the last, minute of that heat?
Yeah, very, very quickly, and a concise victory, though, for Damien, who does look like he's in pretty good form here. Then it was the turn of the Cooley kids, Joel Parkinson and Mick Fanning, just sort of turning up the heat on everybody with some really strong surfing from both competitors. Joel, in the first of those 2 exchanges, seemed to be on cruise control and then came alive with the highest scoring wave of the event so far, 9.57 tubes, everything happened. Mick followed it up with a dazzling performance. And right now, CJ Hobgood and Hodei Collazo are in a kind of a paddle battle back into the lineup, and they're doing the hard yards at the end of the morning's competition. The tide is now really killing off the sandbar. The surfers going on a paddle battle to see if somebody can get the closing wave in this heat. There's only 4 seconds left. And it looks like CJ's going to come away with a win. And CJ Hobgood, the second Hobgood to move into round number 3.
Well,
And
Nick, wouldn't you say that when this